you only present every offer that's highly needed for their current life event or the stage that they're going through, so that they actually view it as a service action rather than as a sales action.
Welcome back to the second chapter of this masterclass on Banks in a Perfect Storm, presented by The Banker in partnership with IBM. I'm Brian Kaplan, the Banker's editor, discussing how banks can grow by adopting cognitive solutions with IBM's Vivek Bajaj, who is Vice President for Global Banking and Financial Markets. So Vivek, welcome. And obviously the banks face this huge regulatory challenge. How can technology help with that?
So regulatory, as we've seen, has really emerged, Brian, in the last couple of years as a massive area of forced investment for banks. So banks are really being required to pump a lot of money into this area in two aspects. One is to actually parse the actual regulation and determine the obligation in terms of what they need to do. And the second is when they're unable to do that successfully, they're being hit by massive fines. So we're talking about billions of dollars of fines. So what we're seeing with application of cognitive technology is the ability to actually automate a lot of these tasks. So currently banks are being forced to actually assign highly expensive assets and resources to actually do that parsing. A cognitive system is one that understands, reasons, and learns. So it can look at that information, the unending flow of regulation that keeps coming out, and actually determine the obligation much more accurately and quickly, actually releasing these people.
And so, this is quite a challenge. So, you could actually make it flexible enough, because you know how quickly the regulations are coming out at the moment. It's sort of like a new regulation every week. So you can actually make it flexible enough to kind of fine-tune it every time there's a change.
Yeah, and in fact, what you'll see is a lot of the regulatory requirements that come out are overlapping. So already the cognitive system can determine what are the aspects that we've already covered or that we've already determined. So you can actually reduce the amount that you need to look at and really focus in on what does this new regulation actually mean for me and what do I actually need to do. So it's really about speed, automating that, and putting humans in the position where they're able to audit the actual work rather than doing the manual labor themselves.
Okay. All right, so we've dealt with the regulation, and obviously regulation is something that you have to sort out as a bank. There's no choice about it. On the other side, if you're going to grow, we've got to get some more upside from revenues from engaging with new customers. So give me a little bit of an idea about how the technology can help with that.
So the entire area of personalized client engagement, or as I like to call it, segment of one engagement, none of us want to be treated as a segment anymore. We don't accept that in any aspect of our life, and certainly not in banking anymore. So what you're really looking at is fintech companies have seeded the market with innovation, with highly personalized ways and means to engage clients. And banks need to do the same, often by partnering with fintechs, but also by leveraging long-standing relationships and interacting with clients not only based on transactions, but on behaviors and interactions.
All right, but this is a big transformation for banks, isn't it? Because they're used to thinking in terms of, these very broad customer segments, and this is the product that we've got for that segment, and this is the one for that segment. Now you're saying we've got to look at customers, on an individual basis, and you're a huge bank. So how do you achieve that?
Less is more is my answer, right? So it actually means you need to demonstrate to your client, whenever you communicate with them, that you're communicating with them in a highly personalized fashion, that you understand their wants and needs. And what that means is sometimes you don't actually present all offers to them. You only present every offer that's highly needed for their current life event or the stage that they're going through, so that they actually view it as a service action rather than as a sales action. And that creates the intimacy in the digital age.
Okay, and how much can you use customer data to actually refine the products that you're going to give to the customer segments?
Great question, Brian. Actually, my view is if you're very open, certainly to millennials, you're very open about what you're going to use the data for, and you're going to allow them access to a platform where they can share and benchmark themselves against other people like me. They're actually very open to share their data and understand for what it's being leveraged. I think when you're not transparent about what you're going to use client data for is where you actually come up with a problem.
Okay, all right, so we've sorted out the regulation, hopefully. We're on track now for a more personalized customer experience. But what about the basic sort of operational efficiency of the bank? Because banks still have much too much cost, don't they? And they're rather inefficient, frankly.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the silos that exist in banks have to do with the way they've been organized. It's moving really from a product-centric focus to a more client-centric focus as well. So a lot of these operational efficiencies, again, you've got to go back to the client centricity aspect. If you lead with client centricity and streamline operations in light of being able to serve that client better, and it's an iterative change, right? It's not give me an investment of multi-million dollars up front and you'll see the change in 3 years. You've got to be able to show the changes in agile sprints of 3 to 6 months and actually extract value from those and then use that as a self-funding mechanism to go forward.
Okay, Vivek, we're going to come and talk about radical cost takeout in just a minute.
Thanks very much.